Hi, my name,
Hi.
I'm Claire. Yeah, it's nice to see you today. I'm so glad you're able to be here.
Me too. It's been like a long time. I've been trying to get.
Oh, I think your audio is going in and out.
Is it here now?
Yeah,
Okay. I had one of my headphones wasn't working.
that's okay. Yeah, it's been a long road to being here today. I hear that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah. Well, how are you doing today?
Um, I'm doing all right. I don't know, yeah, I have chronic pain. And I'm in a little bit of pain today, but not too much, which is really nice. It's been a long road with this, and I still don't really know what's going on. So I'm just glad to be here, to be honest.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to have you here. Before we get started, before we dive in, I need to go over this form with you, and I can give you a copy. Um, and this is something I do with all my clients at the beginning of our work together. We can look at it together right now. It just kind of outlines the counseling process and what you're consenting to by being here. Um, and it outlines confidentiality in terms of what we talk about in this room stays in this room. I'm not going to tell anybody what you've told me. There are a couple
Mhm.
exceptions that hold true for everybody. If there's evidence of clear and imminent danger of harm to yourself or others, then I'm required to report that information. If there is suspected abuse, then I'm also required to report that. And if a judge or a court mandates that I release information, then that
Okay.
would be another exception. So you're welcome to look over this and sign later if that feels better to you,
Mhm.
or you can sign now. If you want to take it home and sign later, then I just need your verbal consent for this
Okay.
session today.
Okay, right on. Thanks. Thank you. That
Yeah.
makes sense to me.
Okay, good. Good. Yeah, let me know if any questions come up.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'd love to hear a little bit more about what's going on for you. I know when we talked on the phone today, you're saying that you've been having issues with pain and that that's causing some feelings of anxiety.
Yeah, so uh, I just it's been a long time. It's been like a year since this started. And basically I already I've had anxiety for a really long time. It's just like been super exacerbated by this. And like what's going on kind of right now is that I do it's really hard to admit, like I do have limited mobility due to chronic pain. And my condition is not diagnosed. It's been really hard to figure out what's going on. Um, I have like kind of a hunch that it's fibromyalgia, but there haven't been any doctors who say that. But basically it's like it can be, I sometimes I'll wake up and I'll be in so much pain that I can't move. Other days, like I'll get to work and then I'm in a ton of pain. And so it's like kind of this unpredictable thing. And then when I'm at my job, and it's kind of a new job, I'll be either really out of it because I'm in pain, or I'll be doing really well because I'm not in pain. And like my job performance depends on like whether or not I'm in pain. And I'm just so scared that I'm going to lose my job. My boss will notice sometimes and be like, just like I'll have like an issue with like attention to detail, and she'll call me out, and she's not like the best boss, honestly. But like, yeah, I'm scared that she's just like gonna not be putting up with, like, gonna not want to put up with me anymore. And since I don't have disability protection because my condition isn't diagnosed, she could actually fire me, just for not doing a good job, and I wouldn't be protected. So right now what I'm trying to do is, like, when it is bad, I take a sick day so that I'm not doing a bad job at work. Yeah, so I'm struggling a bit, so I'm glad to be here. I've been feeling pretty isolated and just like really tired and kind of pissed off at my body. Yeah, but I do have a partner. She is super supportive, and they're also non-binary, so that's my first experience in that type of relationship, and that's been really a massive amount of support. Yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Yeah, that sounds really challenging. And the uncertainty would be really challenging. Yeah, thank you for showing up today despite all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious, in the moment when that pain is happening, kind of how are you able to move through that?
Mm. I've kind of noticed that, like, when I'm really stressed out, it's worse. And when I'm really anxious, it's worse. And so what I try to do is kind of just like relax my body, which can be really hard. But I also use like heating pads. I take baths, and like I'll do some stretching, if it's possible. But mostly it's like, yeah, just trying to make my body believe that it's like not in danger, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it sounds like you've already developed some really strong coping skills to deal with, you know, what your body's going through and to take care and support your body.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm trying really hard. So it's kind of nice to hear that.
Yeah, for sure. Um, so are those the kinds of things that you would do when you take a sick day? Does that give you space to take care of your body?
Yeah, I think I think there's definitely more I can be doing. But like when I take a sick day, usually it's one of the like I'm in bed days. And then usually I'll just like let myself stay in bed, or like I'll take a big long nap, or I will like kind of use heat on like whatever body part is hurting, because it's like kind of all over the place. But I do get really I do get super anxious sometimes, and it's really hard to calm down. And I think that makes it worse. And I don't really have as much in that area. Like I don't, I kind of sometimes like don't know how to calm down.
So that sounds like something maybe that we could work on together. It's bringing
Yeah.
methods to help you learn how to calm down.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. And what does that feel like when the anxiety comes up? How does that sit in your body or your mind?
Kind of like my upper back gets really tense, and like my shoulders and neck kind of get really tense. So it's hard to, like, I notice that it's like hard to sit upright, like I'm slouching, and like I feel just kind of like this heaviness here.
Mhm.
and my mind kind of gets a little fuzzy, like I feel a little blank. um yeah, but yeah, or sometimes I'll go, I have a weighted blanket, sometimes I'll lay under my weighted blanket and
Mhm.
it works. um
That's a great coping. Thank
yeah.
you. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like, one of the things that I'm noticing is that you are so in touch with what's happening in your body.
Mm.
Being able to notice all of these things is really impressive. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, cool. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that, like, it seems like I'm doing a good job, because sometimes I feel like I'm not.
Yeah, I can hear that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wanted to go
Um,
back to the piece of thinking about, so, it sounds like this anxiety and the unpredictability of this pain is impacting your ability to feel like you're doing a good job and feel stable at work. Um,
mhm.
do you want to kind of tell me a little bit more about, you know, what happens when you're at work and this anxiety comes up or this pain comes up? Uh,
Yeah. Um so I think it's mostly hard because I work for a public affairs firm, and I write content and I edit it. And
Mhm.
so when I'm in pain, it's hard to focus.
Mhm.
When I'm anxious about being in pain and doing a good job, it's hard to focus. And that's kind of when I can tend to make mistakes
Mhm.
in my writing and in my editing, and with the digital content that I do, I'm going back and forth between edits and my boss. And so if I miss an edit that she's marked on a page and I bring it back to her, then I look bad. I look like it doesn't look good. It's not, I should be kind of able to track her edits. And so I think when I miss something like that, um I just get really scared, and I feel like I get so anxious about it that then I kind of keep doing it, or I'll take twice as long trying to review the material. And like, meanwhile, I'm like kind of freaking out and I'm hurting. um
Mhm.
yeah, so it's like I wish I could just take a break, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Like
And
I wish, yeah.
yeah, what would that look like if you took a break?
um I think like I think I kind of want to reset my nervous system. Um, so like I probably would. Oh, it's cool to think about not being at that job. I really hate this job. Um, I think I would like catch up on sleep, because when I'm in pain, sometimes I don't get enough sleep. So I would probably like sleep in, and maybe like do some like extra care for my body, like moving, like maybe like moving my body a little bit every day, because that's really hard when I'm in work. And like going for like some long walks, and like making myself food and not just like eating out or like doing takeout, and just kind of like catch up on some cleaning in my home, because like when I'm super anxious, I don't clean as much in my house. Like I feel really frozen. So I think I would want to like catch up on stuff if I took like a break. If I wasn't working, I could just like do all of that and then like live my best life. um yeah. I think, but logistically it's hard to imagine what it would look like.
Mhm.
Did you also mean like logistically?
Um, yeah, I mean, I was just curious to hear, that desire for a break and,
Mm,
and more specifically, it sounds like that means that you would have more space to sleep and, take care of your home environment and take care of
Mhm.
your body in terms of having more time to like cook meals that made you feel
Mhm.
satisfied and move your body in a way
Yeah.
that might not be happening right now, it sounds like.
Yeah, yes, kind of just, like, doing the things that I feel like I can't do while I'm working and anxious and in pain. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah,
Hmm. So I'm curious if those you know if a break is not logistically possible for you. Perhaps something
mhm,
we could work on would be getting to a place where you feel like you could work in some of those activities. Uh,
yeah,
if,
yeah.
if we're able to kind of facilitate making room for those things that sound like they would be really restorative.
Yeah, I think that would be awesome. I think that sounds possible too. I think I'm just so burnt out that like I
Mhm.
can't see all of it.
Yeah.
And it's hard to see where I could fit those things in. So yeah, it would be cool to talk about like, you know, what I could feasibly fit in or what like doesn't take very much time or
Hmm.
like what maybe is eating a lot of my time that it
Hmm.
doesn't need to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like
Yeah.
those points that you made, kind of examining where there might be space that we don't even know we have right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I hear that you're feeling super burnt out right now. And I'm just wondering, you mentioned that you have a supportive partner. Are there other people or other things in your life that you feel like you can lean on a little bit when you're feeling burnt out?
Yeah, I mean, I think my parents are not the biggest support. They live quite close, um, but it feels sometimes like they're not taking this seriously. Like it's kind of like there's no diagnosis, so they don't. They're kind of just like, oh, George is in pain. Like, I think that they have a tendency to like undermine
Yeah.
medical stuff that's going on with me.
Mhm. How does that feel?
It hurts. It hurts. It feels like they're not it feels like they don't believe me. It feels like they don't believe me. And then which like in turn makes me feel more anxious. Like maybe it is all in my head, no one's been able to measure anything. So like maybe it is in my head and maybe I am just so anxious that I'm like causing myself pain. So that's really hard. And yeah, the stuff with my parents is hard. They're supportive overall in general. When it comes to medical stuff, not so much. They kind of have this thing of like get it together, um, and minimizing. So I go there. I'll go over there, and then I kind of like won't really say anything about being anxious or in pain,
Mhm.
or I'll try not to say anything. And it does feel good to go there and like calm down and stuff. Um, but it's kind of also like as long as I don't really talk about it.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it's complicated.
Yeah.
Um, I have a cat who is actually very helpful, which I know sounds weird. But like she's totally my emotional support animal. Like she can tell when I'm not okay and she'll come over and just like sit on me and like start trying to. So I feel like really comforted by her. Um, then who else? I have a couple friends who like know what's going on, who will like come hang out, and kind of like uh hang out like while I get some things done around the house finally. Um, and And then, yeah, just the one partner for now. um, and they're really helpful. They're really compassionate. They show up in terms of like compassion, and like that's being feeling understood and feeling like there's space for me to be not okay is important to me.
Mhm.
I feel like I answered your question, but I also feel like I rambled a little bit.
Well, I hear that you have some people in your life who feel like they support you, um, and a cat.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. Well, I'm glad that you have some um, people that you can feel that, lift you up. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. And um, yeah, I was just thinking, you know, do these are people that you can turn to when you're not at work? Um,
Mm.
do you have anybody at work who knows what's going on? Or
I didn't even think about that. Actually, yes, I do have someone. There is another. So I work in kind of a group of three. It's my supervisor, me, and then another. I guess I don't know what their technical name is, like an intern or something like that. Like they're a student, but they also work here. So like 3 days a week. Um, and they do graphic design. Um, and but it's been really awesome to talk to them about like non-binary stuff. And on top of that, like we established a rapport that's more friendly than anything else, honestly, because our boss is like so hellish, that we kind of just came together as a team. And I do feel like I can tell them, like they know, they know, and they know when I'm having an off day. And sometimes I'll
Mhm.
ask them to like look something over for me, or like, you know, and they also have their own stuff going on. So we kind of just confide in each other a lot, and that can be really helpful.
Mhm.
That is really helpful sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think the response would be if you told them what was going on? How would that feel?
Um, hmm, I'm trying to imagine it. Scary. But I think that they would, I like objectively, I think that they would be really supportive. Um,
Mhm.
it feels scary to share that, but they're also not my supervisor. So there's not really any like danger there. Yeah. Um, I think, yeah, I think I could probably do that, and have that be an area of support.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe that's something to try.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Do you
Mm.
have other coping things that you do when you're at work when you feel like you're making all of these mistakes that I hear you saying, are there things that are specific to being at work that you can do,
Mm.
um, or
Hmm.
you are doing? Um,
I don't do much, honestly. So that's a really good point. Hmm, I wonder, maybe there's some like comfort items I can bring in,
yeah.
or sometimes sometimes my feet really hurt, and
Mm.
I just want to put on slippers. Like sometimes I just want, maybe I can bring in like slippers, and like when I'm feeling like I just kind of need something snuggly, like just kind of wear slippers under my desk. I
Yeah.
feel like no one's gonna notice if I'm wearing slippers under my desk. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds cool.
Yeah. Good idea.
In terms of like, yeah, like anxiety stuff.
Yeah.
I guess like there are opportunities where like I can close my door for a little while and have it be like really, really quiet. And maybe like I can, because I don't really take 15-minute breaks.
Mhm.
So I can maybe I could kind of start doing that and like close my door and just like put my head down if I'm really like tired and anxious, and if I want to do that. Sometimes I go for walks too.
Mhm.
It kind of just depends on where I'm at.
Mhm.
um well, I wonder, and I have seen those like what are they, like not slime, maybe slime things, like the little putty things that are supposed to
Mhm.
be like good for, I don't know, like good for something. They look really fun. Maybe I could get my friend has one, and like it's from this really cool person who like makes it all glittery and stuff.
Mm.
Maybe there's like I could get one and then have something to do with my hands when I'm feeling a little anxious and
Yeah.
just kind of like I need to move, but I also need to be at my desk.
Mhm. I really
Mm,
like that idea. That sounds like a great sensory tool.
mm,
I'm also thinking about things that you could do when you just have to be at your desk, like you're saying. It sounds like you said a lot of the anxiety kind of lives up here.
mm,
I wonder what it feels like to just kind of consciously bring your shoulders down, um,
mm,
and take a 5 minute breath, count to five and take a breath. Uh,
mm.
you know, I think they're
Yeah,
small things because you are so in touch with what's happening in your body.
yeah, that's a
I'm
good
just thinking
point.
about little tiny um, things that you could do to kind of bring yourself back.
Just kind of noticing how I'm sitting at my desk and like
Mhm.
breathing, like kind of practicing like maybe like an opening breath or like a kind of just this reset breath practice.
Yeah. Sometimes
Yeah.
it seems like if you don't have time to take a 15-minute break, what if you took like a 10-second break? If you found
Yeah, that's
where
true.
the time that you do have, what can you do with that?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I never really thought about that. I'm kind of excited to try that. Because I think often I can get so overwhelmed that I don't really think about the little things. Um, so yeah, I'd like to try that. Maybe I'll do that, and then for the next session I'll come here and I'll do it. I'll use it like an experiment.
Yeah. Yeah, we can experiment with all of these things. Yeah.
Mm, cool.
I'm wondering, I've heard a lot about what's hard about this job, and I'm just curious, what brought you to this job? Kind of if there are elements that
Mm.
you do like about being at this job.
Yeah, I came onto the job um because it was kind of a really cool opportunity. I work as like a outreach coordinator for the California State Department of it's basically like I do outreach materials for the licensed cannabis growers in California.
Mhm.
And it's such a new legalization that I wanted to be. I saw the job posting and I really wanted to be like on the forefront of that. It felt like a really exciting opportunity, and it is.
Mhm.
It's a really cool opportunity. And it's a lot of proofreading, it's a lot of writing about like basically translating like laws into actual like easily digestible information, and I like doing that. I like helping people in that way, and also the benefits are amazing. The benefits are just like out of this world, and that's really helpful. That's like starting to be more helpful with my medical stuff that's going on.
Okay.
Yeah, like top tier Kaiser, right up for like $100 a month. I mean, it's insane.
Mhm.
So it feels like it's in part because I'm genuinely really interested in the material, and then also in part to take care of myself so
Mm.
that I have more resources.
Mhm.
I didn't really think about how I did that, how I actually did like look for this job and apply, in part because I would have more access to resources for myself.
Mm.
Hmm. Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. So it sounds like there are some ways that, you know, you do feel like this is giving me more resources in terms of, being able to do something have that you feel passionate about, being able to help people. And the other side of that is feeling like you're supported in terms of being able to get the medical resources that you need.
Yeah, yeah, it feels really important. If both feel important. So I do.
Mhm.
Yeah, I guess I haven't really thought for a long time about what I like about this job. Like I guess like I in being like so overwhelmed, I am like so anxious about losing the job. I haven't really thought about like what it is that I really like about the job in a long
Mhm.
time. And like I do like the people for the most part, and I don't like my boss, but like I can manage my boss.
Mhm.
I'm learning to work with my boss and in the way that like she needs, and I'm but other than that, like it's a really awesome culture, like of people who just kind of want like I don't know, because it's like all these cannabis farmers like weren't legal for a really long time, and now we're trying to make that process as smooth as possible, and
Mhm.
that feels really good, trying to make something like feel okay to other people, trying to help others transition more easily. um yeah, plus it's cannabis, like it's like that's cool. um yeah. Yeah, thank you. I have not smiled talking about this job in a very long time.
Yeah. Well, you're having, I can totally see how all of these things that are having the pain and the anxiety and all of that really can cloud, um, you know, other things that you feel like you used to enjoy or used to motivate you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's okay as well. Um,
Yeah.
I did hear you say that you feel like you're learning how to work with your boss, um, in kind of a way that works for both of you. That's
Mm-hmm.
something that I hadn't heard earlier in the session.
Mm. Yeah. I think it can be challenging with a new supervisor, who can be very she can be really micromanaging
Mm.
and nitpicky.
Mhm.
And I previously haven't had a supervisor who is as like nitpicky as she is. Like
Mhm.
she's a phenomenal editor. I feel like I thought that my editing skills were good going into this job, and now I feel like a fish out of water.
Mhm.
So basically, it's involved working for her has involved me having to step up my game,
Mhm.
um, which is also a really great thing. Like I never thought about like proper formatting, like like I never really had to learn super proper grammar before, and now I'm like they're little tiny things that I notice. And so my skills are actually growing in this area quite a bit. It's just that it's involved a lot of like growing pains as I learn. So maybe it's less about like what learning to like read my boss and like do what she wants, and more about my skills having to grow quite a bit here.
Mhm.
Yeah. And that can be scary if I'm having an off day.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I hear that. So I mean, it sounds um, like you feel like you've grown in a lot of ways through being at this job, and built new skills, and and also that it requires, effort from you, and that is hard when you feel like you don't have the energy or the capability to, put that effort. So,
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds pretty accurate. It's been it's been a hard time. Which I think is probably why I'm so exhausted.
mhm,
So I think that like having some of those like reset practices
mhm,
when I'm there, and then also like when like really learning to like figure out how I can insert different forms of care when I'm outside of work is going to be really helpful.
mhm.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think, we have about, well, less than 15 minutes left in our session today. And I think that I like how you led into, thinking about what your goals might be for, how I can support you.
Hmm.
And do you want to tell me a little bit more about, you're thinking about more kind of coping skills to help with the exhaustion and the anxiety? Um,
Yeah.
is there anything else that you can think of around that?
Um, yeah, so coping skills for sure. Um, Learning how to kind of exist as someone with chronic pain and anxiety gonna be super helpful. So
Mhm.
I definitely appreciate you bringing that in and like recognizing both. Um, and I think also maybe I'm probably gonna want to talk a bit about like how to continue to approach a diagnosis with like medical people. So maybe we can do a little bit of stuff around that too.
Mhm.
Um, which might just even be just like pep talks, but also could be like if maybe there's a way to like practice going in. If I go into the doctor, like practice what I'm going to say and stuff like that.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, that could be helpful too.
Yeah, we can definitely work on all those things together.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So, I think, yeah, we can keep talking about, how I can support you in your interactions with, these other medical professionals that you're, um, interacting with. And, I know we didn't talk a lot about that today, but we can definitely explore that more, and
Okay.
explore, yeah, I like your idea of, yeah, practicing in a safe session, um, having difficult conversations, and
Hmm.
also bringing in, kind of processing what those interactions are like.
Awesome. That
Yeah,
sounds great. That
yeah.
sounds really nice. I'm excited. I'm
Oh,
excited.
good.
I am.
I'm excited to work with you on
Mhm.
this. Yeah, I just, I think you're bringing a lot of strength and, intuition into this process already.
Mhm.
I think I hear that you have kind of developed ways to support your body through the pain, and, are kind of very aware of how that's affecting you. And I think
Yeah.
being aware of all of that is a powerful way to then be able to work with what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's a
Yeah,
good
and so we
point.
can just work on, what you're already bringing to the session. And I think I heard you say that you want more ways to deal with the anxiety that's coming up, that feels a little bit, um, like you're needing more support in that area.
Hmm.
And I think we can definitely work on things that we can do in session and skills that I can give you that you can bring into, whether you're at your home environment or your work
Hmm.
environment.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Cool. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to go through like what, because I know like I haven't made a ton of lifestyle changes
Hmm.
since chronic pain stuff. So I think it's going to be interesting to talk about like what are some like kind of thinking outside the box of like what are
Hmm.
some of the things that I can do.
Yeah.
Because I haven't really done that very much.
Hmm.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
it seems like this might be one of the think outside the box times.
for sure. Yeah, that sounds like something that I can definitely help you with. It sounds like you're wanting to kind of make more room for, you know, what are the ways that you can make changes that can support
Hmm.
your current experience. And that's really hard, also.
Yeah. Yeah. I think like probably after this session, I'm probably gonna take like a nap. Probably gonna take like a really nice nap and then like go for a walk and like hang out in my garden and just do some like try to do some relaxing stuff.
Yeah, yeah. What are you growing in your garden right now?
What am I growing in my garden right now? I mean, my regulars are like rosemary, sage, thyme, but I also have like a bunch of stray carrots and radishes. And I have an artichoke plant that is massive and very confined by like one of those metal like tomato cages.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't know how to get it out of it because now it's too big for the tomatoes cage. So I think I might have to clip the cage off. But it's like the world's largest artichoke plant. I mean, I can't. It's massive. It's gonna take over everything. Um, so we'll see. We'll see what happens with that.
Yeah.
But those things, yeah, gardening for me is like a super wonderful way to get grounded and like
Okay.
de-stress. Yeah.
Well, that sounds like a good plan for after session. Um, we have a little more than 5 minutes left in our session, and I just wanted to make sure to make room for, if there's anything that you want to share about how you feel this went today, or any questions or concerns.
Yeah, I forgot about this part. I no, I feel pretty good. It's it's interesting being with a new therapist. I think that I know that like we're going to kind of build a rapport for a while, which is really awesome. I'm feeling good right now. I'm feeling like I have some ideas of what we're going to work on and some even for the next before our next session, like some things that I can try out. And that feels really positive. Um, and I feel heard, and I feel understood, which isn't always the case when I'm seeing a new therapist. So yeah, I feel a little bit nervous.
Mhm.
Um, but that also makes sense because I can be a pretty nervous person. Um, so yeah, so I'm more like I'm anticipatory. I'm I'm curious. I'm curious about how where our work is going to go, and I'm feeling hopeful. Yeah.
Those are all great words to bring into our work. open, being curious about the process, and yeah, and I hear that there's a little bit of nervousness there. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I think we can.
yeah, it'll be interesting, but I'm like I'm already ready to get in my garden.
Yeah. Yeah,
So I
I
guess
like that plan for after your session.
yeah, me too. So I guess we're checking in a week, right?
Yeah, so I think
Okay.
we can see each other again in a week.
Okay.
And um, yeah, in the meantime, you know, I think I just felt myself take a breath. You can maybe try to bring that in, um, what we talked about, into taking, feeling like you can take a small break in terms of
Mhm.
just letting yourself take a breath. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, something else, I was thinking about, and we can talk about this more next session. And of course, we can keep checking in throughout all of our sessions. I was wondering if some kind of group might be helpful in terms of, I have a group for people dealing with pain issues that I could refer you to, and you can just, you know, look into it or look at it if you want to. Because I hear that you're saying that you're kind of, you're thinking about what changes can you make in your life to support yourself, and that could be a possibility to talk to other people
Hmm.
who have gone through a similar experience. And it might be,
Yeah,
yeah,
that might be really helpful. I hadn't thought about that before. I
okay.
hadn't thought about like talking to other people with who are in pain.
Yeah, so I can send you that information. Um,
Okay.
that group meets once a week as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can
Right
just
on.
see what you think about that. And we can also brainstorm other resources that I can help you with, um,
Okay.
in future sessions.
That sounds great. Sounds awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think if there's nothing else, again, you can either sign the form that I gave you now, or you can look at it and give it back to me next session.
Yeah, if it's okay, I'll look over it and then I'll bring it back next time if
Okay.
that's fine.
Okay. Great. Yeah. Well, I enjoyed
Cool.
seeing you here today, and I look forward to working with you.
Me too. Thank you.
Thank you so much.